Put your money where your mouth is. That's totally what the whole theme of this episode is. When it comes to being pro-life, stop supporting Starbucks or Target or all of these companies that are paying for their employees to have abortions, who are paying donations to Planned Parenthood, who are paying all of these things that are my other beliefs too, that they're not supporting my other beliefs, being pro-America, pro-family, traditional values that I have and hold dear. So many of these massive companies are like just completely pooping on that. And so today, this is going to make it so easy for you guys to be able to go out and support the brands that we love because they're going to stand up for our values. Michael Seifert is the founder and CEO of PublicSq. He's done all the hard work for us. He's done the digging, he's done the looking, he's done the searching, he's done the vetting. He is making sure that brands stand in line with our values, most specifically when it comes to the show Speak Out, the pro-life value and belief. He is making sure that all of the tens of thousands of brands that are on his marketplace, PublicSq, are pro-life. They have to sign a statement of beliefs, and pro-life is one of the first ones that they sign, which is amazing because I'm always thinking like, I want to purchase clothes for my kids or, decor for my house. But these companies I don't want to support. I don't want to go to Target anymore. I haven't gone to Target in a long time and I don't want to keep supporting them. Sometimes we're in a place where maybe we live in a smaller town and that's all we really have. But now you can look at PublicSq. You can go on their marketplace. You can type in what you need: kids' clothes, kids' shoes, toys, baby shower gift, pillows, comforter, mattress, whatever it is that you need. You go in there, you type it, and there will be businesses that pop up. You want a coffee in your area? You want to stop supporting Starbucks? Bam, get the PublicSq app, type in coffee, see what's available in your area. You would be surprised. And if you know of brands who are conservative, you can contact PublicSq or send them to PublicSq and say, hey guys, go get your business on PublicSq. You definitely want Patriot supporters and people who are pro-life coming to support you because you're willing to stand for your values and say, we are a business who stands for life. Period. We're not going to pay for abortions for our employees. We are not going to donate to Planned Parenthood. We are not going to cave to the woke mob, to the pro-abortion mob. That's not happening on our watch. Michael Seifert is doing all of the dirty work for all of us and making sure that we can support these brands. And we didn't touch on this in the episode, but I do want to tell you really quickly, Michael, PublicSq just started a brand called Every Life. It is a diaper brand, a pro-life diaper brand. Did you know pretty much every big box diaper brand is pro-abortion? I mean, what? How do you, who supports killing off your base? I mean, when you kill babies, who's buying diapers? This doesn't make any sense. So Michael saw this as an issue. PublicSq saw this as an issue, and they started a brand called Every Life. The most amazing name. I wish I would have come up with it. I'm kind of jealous, to be honest. But they're pro-life, low-tox diapers. You know how I'm totally into the like holistic, non-tox vibe. They're low-tox diapers, so they're better for you than a lot of the big box diapers anyway. And you could use code Christine10 if you want to buy these diapers for yourself or someone else, or maybe you just want to give back. You want to go on and say, wow, pro-life diaper brand, I want to support them. You can go on and you can choose a give back option and send them to an organization that is working with women in these situations who could be in need. And I think you guys are going to love this episode because I'm always saying, put your money where your mouth is. Support those who support your values. The brands who are donating to the baby showers I do, let's support them. And in this case, even more than the brands who are donating to the baby showers, because I don't get, a couch necessarily for a baby shower, but we need all of this stuff for day-to-day living. And Michael is doing that. Michael Seifert is an amazing human being. He is working so hard to be able to compete with the big players and be able to support all of us who have pro-life values and want our money to go exactly where our mouth is. Put your money where your mouth is. So I'm excited for you guys to hear from Michael today. I hope you check out PublicSq and I hope you check out Every Life diapers. I think you're going to love them. Without further ado, here is Michael Seifert. Michael, thank you so much for joining us today. It is an absolute pleasure to have you. I'm really excited about the work that you're doing. I'm not going to explain it as well as you would. Obviously, you do this professionally. Can you explain for those listening exactly what is PublicSq?
Well, first of all, thanks so much for having me. We are the world's largest marketplace of businesses that are unashamedly pro-life, pro-family, and pro-freedom. We are a direct rebuke of the hyper-progressive culture that we believe has dominated the marketplace over the last decade and has really caused the destruction of our country in a lot of tangible ways. Obviously, we've seen that recently with Target and Bud Light and a lot of the different debacles that are taking place in corporate America, where there are these companies that are prioritizing progressive politics over the actual interests of their consumers. And we've had enough. So we created a marketplace of over 55,000 business vendors, over 1.1 million consumer members that have joined together in this marketplace so that we can put purpose behind our purchases, we can have trust involved in our transactions again, and we can actually change the country with the power of our wallet. So we're on iOS, Android, and at PublicSq.com, and PublicSq is the name of the platform, and we'd love it if you join us.
Yeah, so one of the values that you guys promote on your platform and through the businesses that you have on the platform is being pro-life, right? Is that one of the core values that businesses are supposed to sign off on when they join?
Yes, it's value number 2. So we protect the family unit at all costs, and we celebrate the sanctity of every life. These are businesses that have agreed to these values and also to respect these values, meaning they're not going to spend time, money, or resource antagonistically against these values. So while Target and Lululemon and Starbucks are actually funding abortions and will even pay their employees to go get abortions, these businesses are doing the exact opposite. These are businesses that are saying that these rights in the public square of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness should go to everyone, especially those the most vulnerable, which are, of course, the lives of the unborn. So, yeah, that's how we structured our marketplace, and it's been an incredibly refreshing experience for consumers that are tired of funding their opposition.
It's amazing to see that so many businesses are willing to say, yes, we are pro-life, and we're not afraid to show it. We're not afraid who knows it, and we are going to stand by these values. Because a lot of times what I see, even with politicians, you'll see, like they're pro-life, but they're like, I don't really want to talk about it, or I kind of want to leave that off. But these are businesses who are saying, yes, these are the values that we support. We are always going to support them. And if you're going to shop with us, we appreciate you supporting the same values, but we're not going to go against those. We see Starbucks doing that. We see Target doing that, like you just said. And a question I was going to ask later, but we were talking about this a little bit before we started filming. You said that there was a hit piece on you. I was going to find out, has cancel culture come for PublicSq yet? Sounds like they're trying.
They have tried, unsuccessfully, might I add, but they have tried. Yeah, we've been called all the names in the books by legacy and corporate media, Vox and Axios and CNBC. We've had the mix for sure of different journalists that have tried to smear this. We've been called a threat to public health or a threat to the fabric of our economy. We've been called an alt-right platform seeking to divide the nation. And our simple response to that is actually that we're not the ones dividing. We're a hopeful response to the divide that was created a decade ago by these companies that have embraced a high ESG score over the actual providing of a quality product to their customers. So we didn't cause Target to go out and indoctrinate children with tucking underwear and all this nonsense and funding abortions. That wasn't us. In fact, we've always been preaching a very simple message, which is just that the economy should be focused on the values that made our country special and providing the maximum value for the shareholders and the consumers. That's it. That's all a company should be focused on. And at our marketplace, we note a very important difference from the ESG mob. ESG scores, and if you're not familiar, that's environmental, social, governance scores. It's what's driving so much of this sort of quote unquote woke move in the marketplace. They require businesses to do things. You have to give a certain amount of money, and you have to embrace these sort of causes, and you have to have this amount of hiring related to diversity quotas. It's all social engineering. Our platform is fundamentally the opposite. We don't force these businesses to do anything. All we ask is that they don't do anything that counteracts these core values. It's a fundamentally different worldview that guides us, and that helps consumers know that these businesses are going to welcome them with open arms and celebrate the freedoms that have been enshrined by our Constitution and given to us by our Creator. And so anytime we get hit pieces, the hate, it only helps us grow more, because that message I just described is actually a hopeful one that Americans everywhere are clinging on to and wanting, because it stands in such opposition to what they've been seeing and are really tired of in corporate America.
Absolutely. The ESG stuff is so interesting to me because you would think, you have Target and Bud Light, and you would think losing all of these customers and losing all of this money is something that they would be worried about. And I'm sure to some degree that they are, but it sounds like their ESG score is far more important than you and me going to buy Bud Light or shopping at Target. They put that above their consumers, and you guys are doing the exact opposite. With the Vox piece, that was the most recent one that came out. What were they trying to say about you guys today?
That we're trying to profit off of divide. That was their simple thesis, that, we're not genuine. We're just seeing an opportunity to make some money off of the cultural chaos that we're witnessing. What they don't mention, and what they, I think, intentionally declined to mention, is that my wife and I, we are the consumers we're trying to reach. We've been about this message for a long time. This isn't just an economic opportunity for us. In fact, we've turned down a lot of money because it would have required us to compromise on our values. And we've said from the day one of launching this thing that if we had a crossroads that came where we had to choose between holding fast to our values, but we fail, or we compromise our values, but we get financial success, we choose failure all day long.
Yeah.
If this company died because we were holding too fast to our values, I'd much prefer that all day long because I couldn't live with myself. Our team couldn't live with ourselves. We are genuine in our expression of trying to save this country through the power of the marketplace. And, Vox doesn't want to admit that because the thing that they're most afraid of is acknowledging the fact that there are tens of millions of Americans out there that are really tired of this leftist virtue signaling. They do not want to support abortion when they're just trying to buy a cup of coffee. They're tired of being lectured to about gender ideology when they're trying to buy a pair of pants. It's just become too much. And you know what? I'll finish with this, Christine. What really tipped them over the edge and got people like that really frustrated is the fact that they're even seeing apolitical people wake up. So many of the consumers on our platform are not even political. It's so much deeper than that. It's principled. And so they can't just write us off as a right-leaning platform. Nowhere in our branding will you ever see the word conservative. You won't see the word Republican. This is so much deeper than any of that. And we have country music stars, action sports athletes, cultural icons that are backing this because it has so many magnitudes greater impact than just political whims. And Vox can't handle that. So they want to try to write us off as a cheesy right-wing platform that's trying to profit off of the cultural divide.
Well, you know what? Okay, first and foremost, even if that were the case, that's just good business. If you see somewhere that you can go make money, you go make money. But your convictions, obviously, it is so apparent or so incredibly strong that you are going to stand true to your convictions despite what other people are doing, despite what Vox says or Fox News says or what Tucker Carlson says or anybody else. You're going to do what you think is right because that's what we should all be doing. I wish there were more people who were as strong in their convictions as you are, because we need people like you to speak up and to create these businesses, or I guess your business is a business of a lot of businesses. But we need people like you because there's a lot of people who shy away from this because people like Vox come out and because people will try to cancel them. But if we all shy away from sharing our values and being strong in our convictions, then they win. And we absolutely don't want them to win, especially when it comes to the issue of abortion, because this is the most important issue of our time. And something that you guys recently announced, which I think is amazing. I just want to give you so much credit right now. While other businesses like Target and Starbucks are paying for abortions, you guys are paying your employees to have babies. You call it a baby bonus. Tell me about that.
Well, thank you. First off, I do not deserve those kind words, but I really appreciate that and the support for the movement that we're creating here. We've been really tired of watching companies like you described, and it goes far, far deeper too. Amazon, Lululemon, big banks, Deloitte, even like a big four accounting firm. I mean, it's absurd how far this has gotten. Of companies that are funding their employees' abortion. They'll give $4,500 to actually pay for their travel across state lines, pay for the abortion. It's absurd. And many of these companies came out last summer in response to the overturning of Roe v. Wade, which is something that our nation should have been celebrating. But companies like this are actually doing the opposite. We saw that and we're really disheartened by it. And we believe ultimately that our company is only as strong as the families that build it. And my wife and I just had our first child 7 months ago, actually. And we're trying to practice what we preach. And we believe ultimately the way we win in the long run is by growing our families and expanding the family unit and raising children up in the way that they should go and believing the truth and all these things. And so when we saw companies doing this and we juxtaposed that with our value for the family unit, we thought, wouldn't it be kind of cool if we actually put our money where our mouth is, incentivize the expanding of our employees' families? And so what we decided to do is that we would actually give $5,000 after tax in a bonus no strings attached. They can spend it however they'd like to any of our employees, or of course their employee's spouse. If it's a male employee that's married and has a wife who's pregnant,
So you are extending this to the men too?
Oh yeah. If their wives are pregnant, absolutely. They're a part of this as well. Any employee that has a baby or their spouse has a baby or they choose to adopt, we will give them $5,000 in a bonus after tax, no strings attached. And
That's incredible.
Strong families build a strong nation, and ultimately strong families build our strong company. It's the only way it works. And so we have paid maternity leave that is very strong, better than any of these states will offer. And we also wanted to do this bonus on top of it because we believe ultimately that we have to be able to support the families that build our company. And we hope that this is an example also for other companies to step up and do the same, because we're seeing a demographic collapse. We're seeing our country continually devalue life. And it makes us sad. So we thought we could get a lot of people really hopeful if we do the opposite. And so far it's working.
Yeah, that's something
a lot of people started having babies on our staff. So this is, it's clearly working.
That's amazing. Well, I was just thinking about that. I am hopeful that it encourages other companies that are pro-life or company owners who are pro-life to do the same. I mean, that is so pro-family. When you see these other companies being pro-abortion and paying for abortions, what you're seeing is like incredibly anti-woman. Would you agree? I mean, you're saying, hey, go take care of this problem. I'm going to give you $4,500 to go abort this baby, to kill this baby so you can get back to work and come help me make more money.
You just pointed out an incredible reality that I think everyone needs to hear, especially on the left, when they believe that these businesses are catering to them in the name of women's healthcare. Like, it's the very opposite. What they want is actual productivity increases. Like, they don't care about you or your family to the point where they're willing to pay for you to terminate the expanding of your family and literally kill your baby. I mean, it's absurd what's happening. And they'll do that so that you can get back to work. They want you to be a slave to their system. It's not empowering at all, because if these companies actually cared about their employees, they would say, you obviously wanted to expand your family. You're having a baby. This is wonderful. Or you as an employee, like, obviously should want these things. These are beautiful desires, and we should be able to empower those desires. But instead, they're saying the very opposite, which is this is an inconvenience. It hurts our bottom line. Take care of it so that you can get back to work. By the way, Amazon is one of the companies that led this charge in paying for their employees' abortions. And Amazon notoriously is very against their workers. They've actually had that very famous lawsuit where they forced their drivers to pee in bottles because they couldn't handle the 5-minute delay in productivity. So to pretend that companies like this actually care about their workers when they're doing egregious acts like this, it's absurd. And so we wanted to do the opposite, which is that we actually believe that more of our employees' offspring is a wonderful thing, and the expanding of families is really beautiful. And ultimately, our country, again, will only be strong for decades and centuries to come if we continue to raise up awesome, great new Americans. And so that's our message. And you nailed it on the head. These companies, all they want is productivity. They just want increased profits. So when they try to virtue signal to you, please remember that.
Yeah, absolutely. So what does the future of PublicSq look like? Do you see it continuing to grow? Obviously, it's growing incredibly fast. I know you guys are going to go public. Do you have plans to expand beyond what you are right now?
Absolutely. In fact, we haven't even been live nationwide for a year. So we launched nationwide fully July 4th of 2022. So it's been literally less than 12 months fully live. And we are just
it was on July 4th.
I know. It felt fitting.
That's amazing.
And yeah, we're really excited to come up on the 1-year anniversary here. We are going after Amazon. That is where we're going. So today
I was going to ask that.
Yeah, that's where we're going. Today we exist as a business directory, right? So we showcase to you businesses of all different industries, and then you can shop with those businesses, but it's external from the app. Where we're going even this year, meaning like this fall, we've already publicly announced we're actually moving to full-blown e-commerce. So one shopping cart within the platform, multiple vendors, product catalog searching, really going after Amazon's market. And, thankfully, because of the growth that we've experienced, we hit 1 million members faster than Twitter did in the early days. And so because of that growth, we've been able to expand really quickly. We've been able to continue to pour resources back into the company. And we believe that we can achieve what Amazon took 25 years to achieve. We believe we can achieve it in half the time. And thankfully, it's it's going ahead of schedule on nearly everything, and we're really grateful for that. So I think the country's ready for this now, and now it's our responsibility to execute.
Yeah, I think the country is ready for it. We see such a market for this. I do baby registries for women and unplanned pregnancies. I partner with pregnancy centers in my area, and I use Amazon because I don't know what else to use at this point, and I hate that I use it because I know what they do, and I guess it kind of in my head, I'm like, well, I'm using it for good, but if there was something else that I could use that allows people to be able to donate in this way, especially, the free shipping is something that's huge. Somebody might not donate to these baby registries if they have to pay $5, $6, $7 shipping. I don't know if that's something that you guys would look into when you expand to that, but I want something that is aligned with our values, because I do give a lot of money to Amazon just through these baby registries, thousands upon thousands of dollars, because we're buying, cribs, car seats, strollers, diapers and wipes for a year, clothes for a year, baby books, baby toys, all of the stuff that a mom's going to need for the first year, pretty much, that is something tangible we purchase for her. And I do it through Amazon because that's the easiest thing. If you had something like that, I would be literally screaming Public Square from the rooftops and putting all my stuff on there because I need it. I know America needs it, but I need it. So I need you to hurry up, Michael.
We're on it. Duly noted. Well, I'll tell you that your desires are not alone. That is definitely the yearning from our consumer base. And what's great, today we're kind of structured like a Yelp. So you go to the platform, you check out lots of different businesses. You can find a lot of those businesses on the platform. We have most industries covered. And where there are not industry representation that's values aligned, one thing that's pretty exciting we've recently announced is that we're actually creating those brands to fulfill those needs. So, for example, one of the most searched for industries within our platform is baby care. And what we've learned is that, sadly, there are very few pro-life baby care options. In fact, companies like Pampers and Huggies celebrate abortion. And we've seen companies lament the fact that Roe v. Wade was overturned, and they're diaper companies. It's the most absurd thing we've ever witnessed. And so not only does that make no moral sense, it's a totally immoral and egregious stance, but it's also a bad economic stance. It'd be like me saying, I want to make more men's shoes, so we should terminate more men. It's like, it makes no sense. So what we're doing is actually creating brands in that space to fill the void.
I love that.
So really exciting stuff coming, even in the coming few weeks here, and excited to share with you more developments. But the best way that you can help us grow in that process, create a free account. It's as easy as that. We'll never ask you for money. You can sign up at PublicSq.com. You can start to browse. And the more that we get that traction, the more that we're able to continue expanding and growing and hitting milestones like fully immersive e-commerce even quicker.
Yeah, well, let me know how I can help promote you guys, because I will quite literally be your biggest cheerleader when it comes to the baby stuff and promoting it. I do mom stuff too, all of that, but especially when it comes to these baby registries, I want to be able to support that even better if they're non-toxic diapers, because I'm really big into the non-toxic, no chemical stuff, because our babies deserve the best. When it comes to the brands that have these values, how do you ensure that their values stay aligned? I know you say they kind of have like a statement of faith or statement of beliefs that they agree to in the beginning. But with so many brands that are kind of caving, do you consistently check in on them and stay on top of them? Like, how does that work?
We absolutely stay on top of them. We consistently vet. We've got a whole vetting team that's actually in-house that's just around the clock continuing to check in on these businesses, vetting them when they come in. Because one business owner, checking off on the values, that doesn't mean that they're just live on the platform after that. There's actually an entire vetting process that happens between when they check the box and when they're actually live on the platform. So it's basically a holding period while our team reviews. And it's pretty neat. We've got this whole internal PSQ score that we utilize to help us understand these businesses a little better. It's a really neat tool that we've utilized, and it's all human run. We actually have actual humans that are doing this. And then we check up on them every quarter. And then we also have, the ability for community to validate. So after a transaction, you have the ability to actually let us know how your experience was with the business. And this is really neat because it's also a great testimony inflow. When you have regular feedback that's shared often about each of these different experiences, it's nice wind in our sails to hear that the consumers are having a really delightful time with these businesses businesses.
Yeah.
We actually had someone recently that just reached out earlier this week and said, hey, I'm a wedding photographer and I joined your platform as a business. And I had a consumer, my first day that I was live on the platform, reach out to me, and I'm Christian and they were Christian. And so I actually got to pray for them on the phone call and their new marriage that they're stepping into. Like, how cool is this experience? And that stuff is really nice. So the fact that we have community validation that happens often from the business and the consumer side, a really robust vetting team, it helps us ensure that level of trust that just no other platform can provide. And by the way, this may seem more superficial, but it is important to the growth of the platform, the growth of these businesses. Not only is this a really liberating market experience, it's also a lucrative one, because these businesses, like, what they really want is more trustworthy and reliable leads, right? They want more traffic from consumers that they can rely on and that have that shared values alignment. No other platform can provide that. Facebook, Google Ads, none of them can. Right. And so what's really neat is that these businesses, the right type of businesses, we have over 90% small businesses on the platform, they are thriving. Their profits are increasing from a free profile on the platform. I mean, it's really, really cool to witness.
Yeah, what you guys are doing is awesome. I was actually shopping for my husband on your platform for Father's Day. I was like, I'm buying everything. And I didn't necessarily get everything through the PublicSq app, but I'm buying everything pro-America. No made in China. It's going to be made in America. It's going to be people who share our same values. But now I plan, like, now that I had that idea, I'm like, that's going to be what I do for everybody. For their birthday, you get a basket of all pro-America stuff that you would like and that shares our values, because I'm so sick and tired, even especially for like little kids' birthday parties. What I've always done traditionally is just go grab a Target gift card. That's the easiest thing. They get to pick out whatever they want. But now I'm like, no, forget that. I'm not going to support Target. And I'm especially not going to send a little kid into Target to go spend a gift card with what they're doing. They have a book that's called What's Abortion Anyway, that's targeted toward kids. We know what they're doing with all the gender ideology stuff that they're shoving in kids' faces. So I don't want to do that. I'm spending my money. I sound like an ad right now. I'm spending my money on PublicSq, but genuinely, I want to support these businesses. I want to find them, and it is hard to find them without having a company like you. Before you, I would go on my Instagram stories and say, hey, who can tell me like pro-life kid clothing brands, or who can tell me this? And I just am hoping that somebody is going to be able to tell me something. Now you guys have it there. If I want coffee, I go get coffee. If I need my car worked on, I can go find something that's, an auto repair shop. There's real estate agents that I've seen on there. There's apparel companies. And I'm just thinking of the ones that I was seeing in Colorado. Obviously, Colorado is a tough state in general. But I was looking at the companies on there that we have, and there's stuff that I already want to go see. There's some restaurants. I was like, hey, my husband and I can go support this restaurant and go on date night. And I'm really excited to start exploring all of these, because I want my money to go to people who are saying, I am pro-life first. That is my number one issue that I always vote on, is vote pro-life first. But also all these other pro-family, pro-America, pro-God. I want to support those businesses. So thank you for what you're doing. I think it's incredible. And I guess there's one, I won't keep you too long. I know you're busy. I know you guys are going public. Share with me a little bit about what that process is like, going public, and what really does that mean for the people who might be ignorant to the fact, like me. I know we can invest in you now and all that kind of stuff, but what does it mean? Explain it to me like I'm in first grade.
Happy to. And by the way, this you're not at all ignorant, and no one that doesn't understand this world is ignorant. It's just overly complex and right. And honestly very confusing at times. So here's what I'll simply say to sum it all up: our desire for going public. We're a company that's by the people, for the people. We always have been. From the early days, we didn't have any big celebrities backing us, no big influencers backing us. We were just a group of normal people that cared enough to try to build this. Yeah. Now, thankfully, we have incredible, leaders in culture that are backing us. But it didn't start that way. We were just a grassroots group of people that jumped out and tried to do something. So we've always been that company that's by the people, for the people. What going public allows us to do is actually be owned by we the people. So when you're not public, you're a private company, you're relying on the money that you obviously earn through revenue, and also the money that you raise, whether it be from angel investors or family offices. But most companies that are private, and us to date have been private, you can't really invest unless you're an accredited investor, which means there's very high standards that you have to match on an income level, et cetera, to be able to invest in these companies. What going public allows us to do is it allows someone to go invest $10 and they don't have to be accredited, and they can buy as many shares as they want. And it really democratizes the capital markets in a powerful way. And we're excited about that. We want to be owned by the people that have built this company. And so, and that's our consumers. So with that, we're going public. We expect in early Q3 here, so probably July, August time range. And we're going public via a SPAC, which means there's another group that's already public that is taking us public. So that company that's already public is on the New York Stock Exchange. It's called Colombier Acquisition Corp. It's a values-aligned team that is fantastic in execution. And it's CLBR on the New York Stock Exchange. And so investing in that company is like an investment in us, because when this deal closes in early Q3, that company switches over to us. PSQH will be the ticker on the stock exchange, but it's that same company rolls over, and we're the existing company from there on out, and we're going public with the capital that had been raised by CLBR. So, and again, it's a lot, kind of confusing, but the bottom line is we're going public because we want to be a company by the people, for the people, and ultimately owned by we the people.
That's amazing. I so appreciate what you're doing. And with every podcast, when we end, I ask, because it's always people who are so bold in speaking out on their beliefs, and especially the pro-life issue. If you could give one piece of advice to those listening to encourage them to speak out, sometimes it can be tough, especially this day and age. Before it would be, we just agree to disagree. And now people, are getting threats, and it can be uncomfortable, and losing jobs. And speaking of losing jobs, I know you have a job board. So if somebody's looking for a job and they want a business that's going to align with them, go look at the job board on PublicSq. But if you could encourage people with one piece of advice to speak out, what would that be?
Well, I'll tell you what guides me and continues to help me speak out. And it's this: I live for an audience of one. I ultimately believe in God Almighty, in Jesus Christ. He is my Lord and Savior, and therefore everything I do ultimately is to please Him and to make sure that my Father in heaven is well pleased in His Son, who He is, despite all my sins, redeemed. And so with that, I was actually taught early on in my younger years of entrepreneurship that if you live for the praises of men, you will die by their criticisms. Yep. So I don't live for the praise. I don't live for the accolades. And because of that, I also don't die by the criticisms. I speak truth because I know I have an audience of one. And ultimately, I'm not concerned with how people might view me or how people may receive my words. I'm far more concerned about making sure that I'm speaking the truth in love and living my life in such a way that at the end of my life, I can look back and say, I have no regrets. I believe I lived to the fullest extent in the obedience to my Savior. That's ultimately my advice. Don't live for the praises of men. You will die by their criticisms if you do. You have to live for that audience of one. And ultimately, as you do, you'll feel more and more confidence about speaking out. And if I can throw in another second, it would be if you have an idea right now, there's never been a better time to go start it. If you're an entrepreneur, you have that itch or you have that vision, go do it. Because right now, this parallel economy, it's burgeoning. It's incredible how it's advancing. And if you will go out and you will reach this market and you will let them know that they're welcomed, it's unlike anything we've ever seen. The United States is heading into a new Renaissance era with a lot of exciting initiatives and companies that are fighting the good fight and embracing their values in the marketplace. And if you'll jump into that pool, I believe you'll see a lot of success. So don't live for the praises of men. You'll die by their criticisms. Live for that audience of one. And number two, if you've got an idea, go for it. The world needs to hear about it.
Absolutely. Michael, thank you so much for joining us. It is an absolute pleasure. Where can everybody find PublicSq on social media and the website? Give us that little tidbit before you sign off.
PublicSq.com is the best place to go, because there at PublicSq.com, you'll find the links to the app stores, whether you're on iPhone or Android. You can also just sign in right there at PublicSq.com. You'll also find our social media links there, where we're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Truth, etc. And then you'll also find a link to the blog. So check that out, PublicSq.com. We'd love it if you join us.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us, Michael. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Christine. Good to see you.
You too.